The Minolta MD Rokkor-X 50mm f2 was made in Japan and released on the market in 1977. This lens had a short-lived presence in the Minolta SLR system, and it was replaced only a year later by the Minolta MD Rokkor-X 45mm f2, which had a slightly wider angle of view. I found my copy of this lens attached to a Minolta SRT 200, which I bought at a roadside junk sale for only $1. I still can't believe that that's the price that I paid for this camera and lens combo. However, the lens looked pretty grimy and dirty when I examined it, and it was in desperate need for a good cleaning. The optical design of this lens consists of 6 elements in 5 groups. It accepts filters with 55mm diameter. Aperture ranges from f2 to f16 with click stops in between. The diaphragm is made of 5 rounded aperture blades. It weighs 210 grams. On the back, this lens has Minolta MD mount. I use just a cheap MD to NEX adapter, so I can use it on my Sony camera. Minimum focusing distance from your subject to your film plane or sensor is 50 centimeters. This Minolta lens was a real surprise. If I didn't randomly find it for such a ridiculously low amount, I would have probably never tried it, because this lens was simply not on my radar, but I feel very fortunate to have stumbled upon it. For me, the most special feature of this Minolta are its colors. There's something very unusual about the rendering of this lens, because the colors don't necessarily seem more saturated, but they have a certain vibrance and a unique look that really separates them from the colors of other lenses I've tried in the past. I personally love the colors that come out of this lens. Besides the wonderful colors that this lens produces, you can expect very good sharpness in the center when shooting wide open, and by f8, this lens reaches peak performance with excellent resolution across the frame. Another great surprise from this humble lens was the lack of chromatic aberrations. Even at f2, I did not detect any fringing. When shooting wide open, you will get nice out of focus blur and bokeh bows that become more cat-eye shaped towards the corners. If you shoot wide open straight towards the sun, you will see rainbow-like flares, as in this example, but for the most part, flare is very well controlled due to the multi-coated elements of this lens. The only issues that I noticed while shooting with it were barrel distortion and some vignetting. The barrel distortion becomes more pronounced as you get closer to your subject, so have that in mind, and vignetting is mostly visible at f2 but goes away as you stop the lens down. But these are minor issues that are easily fixed in post. When it comes to build quality, this lens is pretty sturdy, but it's definitely not on par with some other lenses I've reviewed here on the channel. Unfortunately, there are some plastic parts, but overall, the lens still feels solid enough. I realize that the price I paid for it is not realistic at all, but if you're looking for this lens, you can still find it on eBay for around $30 to $40, which makes it quite affordable for a nifty 50 with such beautiful colors and excellent sharpness. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time here at Vintage Optics.